the end of June. My name is Madam Chitamba, and I will be taking you through this press conference. Please allow me to introduce the panel before me. We have the Minister of Police, General Bheki Cele, and we do have his Deputy Minister, Castle Matale. We also do have the National Commissioner of the SABC, General Fanny Masimola. We also have the National Head of the DPCI. That's, of course, Lieutenant Advocate Dr. Lieutenant General Godfrey Dubia. We also do have the DNCs that have joined us today. We have the Deputy National Commissioner responsible for policing, that is Lieutenant General Mosigiri. And to her left, we do have the DNC responsible for crime detection, and that is, of course, Lieutenant General Sibiya. And not last, but certainly not least, we do have Mr. Ramaru, who is the acting secretary for police. And the person that's going to be taking us through all the figures, breaking it down for us, is Major General Sikukone, that is on my far left. So without any more further ado, I'm going to ask the Minister of Police to please join us and address us on this occasion and give us his opening remarks. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lorenzo. Good morning, Deputy Minister, National Commissioner, Head of Hawks, National Head, Provincial Commissioners that are there, Deputies here, Acting Secretary, ED, I don't know if she's here, I saw her earlier on, Heads of Entities, the media, and ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, all of us. The national crime figures we are releasing today are derived from cases reported to and detected by the SABC from April to June 2023. This marks the first quarter of 23-24 financial year. The crime stats give us a sober assessment of the state of crime in the country and the progress made by law enforcement to safeguard this nation and its people. We have analyzed these recent figures, and this ministry remains persuaded that the decision to aggressively and strategically confront crime was the right one. This aggressive approach I am referring to entails intensified policing operations to prevent and combat crime during high-density operations in all provinces. While there are still unacceptably high crime levels, police are pushing back on crime, especially violent crime, which is starting to show some decreases. Fellow South Africans, for the first time since COVID-19 reached our shores in 2020, the murder rate of the country has declined in a single quarter. Between April and June this year, police recorded 6,228 counts of murder. This is 196 less people killed compared to the same time last year. Out of 6,228 people killed during April to June, 1,188 were women and children. Apart from the Mpumalanga and the Northern Cape, all provinces recorded decrease for murder in this quarter. While the Northern Cape recorded 11.1% increase in murders, such welcome double-digit percentage decline were noted in the Limpopo and Northwest provinces. The murders for April to June 2023 in those two provinces dropped by 10% and 11.5% respectively. Case dockets analysis shows that firearm, knives, sharp instruments remain the three top weapons of choice for murder. Majority of the people murdered during this period were killed either during an argument, an act of vigilantism, or the lives were cut short while being robbed. Of course, 3.1% decline in the murder rate is no cause for celebration. 6,228 is not just a number. It is people whose lives were cut short at the hands of other human beings. The 3.1% reduction in the country's murder rate must, however, further bolster all policing interventions that have led to less people being killed in our country. Apart from the drop in murder counts, notable decrease in other crime categories have also been observed during April to June this year. These include decrease in sexual offences by 1.9%, trio crimes declined by 5.2%, property-related crimes decreased by 4.5%, and contact-related crimes decreased by 1.6%. Further declines have also been noted in rape and sexual assault counts reported to the police in the 3 months of reporting. Both crimes categories recorded 2.8% and 3.8% decrease respectively. Statistics also show that police are making inroads in upscaling the protection of people's properties. All property-related crimes such as burglaries, residential, burglary, non-residential, stock theft, theft of motor vehicles, and theft of motor vehicles recorded significant decline. While all crimes have an impact on ordinary South Africans, it is motivating that we are starting to see decreases in crimes that instill fear among the people of this country. We are pleased that there has been less counts of contact-related crimes, particularly common and street robberies, as well as hijacking, which declined by over 6%, to be more exact, 6.4%. There were over 1,000 less counts of car hijacking and robberies at non-residential areas in the 3 months of reporting. However, it does remain concerning that robberies and people's homes are still stubbornly high. We must strengthen policing efforts and work closer with private security sector and community patrollers to prevent such home invasions where people are meant to be safe in their own houses. It must be emphasized that these decreases are not coincidental. It is through the upscaling of visible policing and conducting disruptive operations targeting high crime areas that we are starting to see improvements. The tracking and tracing of wanted suspects is also proving to be an effective tool. Serial offenders, including serial rapists, are being pursued and incarcerated. This is reflected in the decrease in rapes and other sexual offences. Despite these drops, we all can agree that the police, together with society, must do more to protect the country's women and children. The crime figures show that the majority of sexual assaults are still taking place between people that are familiar with each other. Sexual assaults are taking place in the homes of victims and perpetrators. It is on this score that we call on society not to look away. Fighting crime starts in the homes, and families must be also involved. The aggressive policing approach has also been bolstered through Operation Shanela, which was launched on the 8th of May 2023. While it is early days, the effectiveness of the high-density operations are showing in the decline of these crime figures. While the declines cannot all be attributed to Operation Shanela, its value and impact to the overall policing strategy is noticeable. Communities have so far welcomed the aggressive approach to crime, and it is on this score that the policing strategies that are leading us in the right direction will be intensified for more favorable results. As of today, Operation Shanela has netted 99,754 suspects for various crimes, including murder, rape, assault, and other serious charges. And it will be good to note that most of them are in custody as we speak. Mphakathi, Operation Shanela is here to stay. Provincial commissioners are urged to continue to lead from the front. work with the members on the ground and sweep clean all crime-ridden areas in your provinces. Serious problem of police killings, ladies and gentlemen. These decreases in many of the crime categories would not have been achieved without the dedication, determination, and hard work of the men and women in blue. Keeping South Africa safe and going toe-to-toe with criminals is also coming at a high cost for the police service. This ministry remains very concerned about the rate in which police officers are being killed in the line of duty in South Africa. It cannot be normal that 31 police officers are killed in 3 months. The DPCI continues to arrest those who choose to undermine the state by targeting police for their criminal gains. Through the diligent investigative work of the Directorate, 9 convicted police killers were handed down 9 life imprisonment sentences and some total of 158 years imprisonment. Far too many of our officers are also dying off duty. This must push the police commissioner together with the management to double up your efforts in the improvement of the wellness of officers. Police are assets of this nation. Police are assets of this nation and must be taken care of physically, mentally, and psychologically so they can serve the community better and diligently. As I conclude, I want to take this opportunity to thank and salute ordinary South Africans in fighting crime together with the police and all law enforcement agencies. We also salute structures in the community such as Community Policing Forum for the conviction and their participation in the battle against criminality. Iphoyisa kumphakathi. We have long ago realized that fighting crime is not only the business of the police. This government is continually working to make our streets, communities, and cities safer places. It is work in progress. We believe that it is not something we will be able to achieve overnight, but it can and it will be done. With these opening remarks, let me hand over to Major General Lawrence Kukuni to give a detailed breakdown of the crime statistics. For now, I thank you.
Good day, Minister of Police, DM, National Commissioner of the South African Police Service, members of the media and colleagues. I'll be taking you through the first quarter of the 2023-2024 financial year, covering the period from the 1st of April 2023 up to June 2023. I think we can just simply get into the nitty-gritties of the presentation and start with the summary that gives the crime that has been reported to the police, starting with the contact crimes, that is the crimes against the person. For the murders in the current quarter, we had a decrease of 196. That is, we moved from 6,424 to 6,228, resulting in a 3.1% decrease. Sexual offenses decreased by 239 from 11,855 to 11,616. That is a 2.0% decrease. Attempted murders, we recorded an increase of 393 counts more. That is from 5,576 to 5,969. Assault GBH, we moved from 34,635 to 37,491, resulting in a case difference of 2,856. Common assault, we recorded an increase of 2,892, that is from 38,627 to 41,519. Common robbery increased by 839 from 10,565 to 11,404, resulting in a 7.9% increase. Robbery with aggravating circumstances, we moved from 35,233 to 35,579, that is a 1.0% increase. And contact crimes have increased by 6,891. Now, going into the details in terms of what led to the decreases that we have observed in terms of the sexual offenses, which we have already talked to on the second line there, it is made up of a decrease in terms of the rapes of 264, a decrease in terms of sexual assault of 65, attempted sexual offenses increased by 94, and contact sexual offenses decreased by 4. The crimes that make up robbery with aggravating circumstances, starting with the subcategory that is termed the trio crimes, made up of carjacking, robbery at residential premises, and robbery at non-residential premises. We have a decrease in terms of carjackings of 378, an increase in terms of robbery at residential premises of 261, a decrease in terms of robbery at non-residential premises of 740, and then the total of the trio crimes decreased by 857. We had the same number of robberies of cash in transit in the current quarter as in the previous comparable quarter. That is 60 in both the quarters, leading to a case difference of 0. Bank robberies, we had one more in the current quarter, whereas in the previous comparable quarter, we didn't have any bank robberies. Truck hijacking, we recorded a decrease of 9 counts less, from 508 to 499, a 1.8% decrease. Now, taking into consideration the population of the country and computing the per capita for the contact crimes using the 2021 mid-year population estimates, for murder, we had 10.1 per 100,000. This simply implies that out of 100,000 population, the possibility of a person ending up being a victim of a murder is 10. For rape, we had 15.1 per 100,000. Attempted murder, 9.7 per 100,000. Assault GBH, 61 per 100,000. Common assault, 68 per 100,000. And common robbery, 19 per 100,000. Then continuing with the table to complete the summary, we recorded decreases in the both crimes that make up contact-related crimes of 90 and 357 for arson and malicious damage to property. Then the total of the contact-related crimes decreased by 447. For property-related crimes, we have a clean sweep in terms of the reduction, where all the 5 crimes that make up the property-related crimes are on the decrease. Led at the front by burglary at non-residential premises of 575, followed by another decrease of 2,830 in terms of burglary at residential premises. Theft of motor vehicle and motorcycle decreased by 254. Theft out of motor vehicle decreased by 273, and stock theft decreased by 175, and the total of property-related crimes decreased by 4,107. Then the other subcategory is the category named Other Serious Crimes, made up of all theft not mentioned elsewhere, commercial crime, and shoplifting. Of these three, the one that we had obtained a decrease was all theft not mentioned elsewhere of 1,087 counts less. Commercial crimes increased by 4,503, and shoplifting increased by 2,102. The broad category of other serious crimes increased by 5,518, a 5.4% increase, whereas the 17 community reported crimes, which are not necessarily 17 by the way, increased by 7,855, resulting in a percentage change of 2.2. The last category of the summary is made up of crime detected as a result of police action, which is a proxy for proactive policing, and the direction or the desired direction of change is to observe increases in these crimes. We managed to recover more illegal firearms and ammunition, 203 more. Drug-related crimes increased by 5,801. Driving under the influence of alcohol and drugs increased by 1,006 more perpetrators arrested. Sexual offenses detected as a result of police action, 506 more perpetrators arrested, and the total of crime detected as a result of police action increased by an overall of 7,516 counts more. That is 61,738 counts in the current quarter. With that out of the way, now we go into the graphical depiction in terms of the 17 community reported crimes, looking at the respective months that make up the quarter. We recorded an increase in the month of April of 4,299, a decrease of 912 in the month of May, an increase of 4,468 in the month of June. The provinces that recorded decreases was the Eastern Cape with 280 counts less, Limpopo 103 counts less, Northwest 350 counts less. Then we had the other provinces recording increases, and the total of the 17 community reported crimes moved from 363,513 to 371,368. That is an increase of 2.2%. Then the top stations, I'll only touch on the first top few, not necessarily top 5, but just the top few stations that make up the top 17 community reported crimes. The first column on the left-hand side, where the cursor or the highlighter is, it indicates the station's position when you take the total number of stations in the country. And the second column is the position of that particular station when the scope of comparison is only limited to a province. So the station, which is the Cape Town Central, it is number 1 at both the national and also provincial position, because it has recorded the highest number of volumes of crimes for the current quarter, which is 2,765. However, it has recorded a decrease because it moved from 2,801 to the current figure of 2,765, which led to a 1.3% decrease. The rest of the top 5 stations can be read from that particular slide without me necessarily going into it, because I've laid the foundation for you to be able to decipher in terms of how it unfolds. Then going to the contact crimes, made up of the 7 crimes that we have already talked about. Now we look at them collectively. We had an increase in the month of April of 4,899, a decrease of 550 in the month of May, and then an increase in the month of June of 2,542. The province that recorded a decrease in terms of the Cumulative of the contact crimes was the Western Cape, which recorded a decrease of 127 counts less compared to the previous comparable period. All the other provinces recorded increases, and the total for the country for the contact crimes was 6,891 increase from 142,915 to 149,806. Then the top stations in terms of the contact crimes are led, the analogy is the same as all the other top 30 stations. The first column indicates the national position, and the second column indicates the provincial position. And then the variable that was used was the number or the volumes of crime that had been reported in that particular station. For contact crimes, number 1 is Johannesburg Central, number 2 is Nyanga, number 3 is Mfuleni, number 4 is Durban Central, number 5 is Tembisa. Johannesburg Central recorded 154 counts more. Nyanga had the same number of contact crimes, that is 965, as in the previous quarter. Mfuleni had 142 more, Durban Central 63, and Tembisa 96. Then looking at the causative factors from the sample sizes of different sizes depending on the volumes of crime that had been reported to the police. For the murder, the sample size that we used was 5,987. Attempted murder, the sample size was 5,455. And for assault GBH, we used a sample of 27,458. Focusing only on the murders, because these are the ones that where we sorted in terms of from the highest causative factor to the lowest causative factor. It was indicated that arguments and misunderstanding were attributable to 793 murders that had been reported to the police service. Vigilantism were attributable to 456, robbery 301, gang-related 193, of which the bulk of these were reported in the province of the Western Cape. Taxi-related murders were attributable to 63 murders. Then we also had rape-related murders, whereby 24 of the rape victims were also murdered. Then we also had 13 murders attributable to law enforcement and security guards in the line of duty. These numbers exclude South African Police Service members that were killed either on or off duty. This would be your security guard, JMPD officers, etc. So if you were to add this 13, it means that the people that are in the law enforcement arena, which had been killed, and you add those to the 31 that were killed, who are members of the South African Police Service, this gives you a rough figure of 44 people that are in law enforcement arena that had been killed. Then the places of occurrence, same sample size, same crimes, 3,072 murders have been indicated to take place in public spaces, that is street, open, recreation center, abandoned buildings, etc. 1,685 murders happened at the residences of the perpetrator or the victim, including residences known by the victim or the perpetrator, e.g. family, friends, and neighbors. We had 243 murders happening at liquor outlets, that is shebeens, tavern, pubs, nightclubs. 85 of the murders happened at park shops. We also had 9 of the murders happening at educational institutions, that is your schools, universities. Then we also had 2 murders happening at the prisons or holding cells. The other crimes can be observed from the slides. Then the murders of women and children, we have recorded increases in terms of the murders of women of 40 counts more. Then we also had increases in terms of attempted murders of 238 for women. We also had an increase in terms of assault GBH of 1,000 138. For children, that is both boys and girls, between the ages of 0 and 17 years old, we had 50 more murders, and for attempted murders, we had 47 more murders, and a decrease in terms of assault GBH of 92 counts less for children, that is both boys and girls, between the ages of 0 and 17. Then for all the murders combined, we had an increase in terms of the month of April of 248. Then coinciding with the launch of Operation Chanela, we had seen a decrease in terms of the murders of 267, followed by another decrease in terms of the murders of 177. And this is the period whereby Operation Chanela was launched. Then we started observing these decreases that are currently depicted on the slides. The two provinces that recorded increases was the province of Mpumalanga and Northern Cape, which recorded an increase of 19 and 9 more murders respectively. Then looking at the per capita for the respective population sizes of the province for the murders, we had the Eastern Cape having the highest per capita murder of 17 per 100,000, KwaZulu-Natal 14 per 100,000, Western Cape 13 per 100,000, Gauteng 9 per 100,000, Free State 8 per 100,000, Mpumalanga and the Northern Cape 7 per 100,000, Northwest 6 per 100,000, and Limpopo 3 per 100,000. And this is just a graphical representation of the per capita murders that had been indicated in the previous slide. What is different here is that we used the map, and also we tried to show the direction of change in terms of the murders by using the green to show that that particular province had recorded a decrease in terms of the murder, and then if it is color-coded red, it shows that that particular province had recorded an increase in terms of the murders. And also the size of the circle indicates per capita numbers. Like for instance, you see that the highest number there was the Eastern Cape with 17.1, and hence it is represented by the biggest circle to indicate that that is the highest per capita. And all these other numbers are proportional to the size of the circle. On the bottom left, we have the population of those particular provinces, meaning that the naysayers can simply take this number and compute the numbers for themselves. They will come to the same conclusion that we have arrived at. Then in terms of the murders, we have the two stations that have recorded the highest number of murders in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, which is Inanda and Umlazi. And then Inanda had 15 more murders, and then Umlazi recorded a decrease of 21 murders. Then the next three stations are from the province of the Western Cape, that is Delft, Gugulethu, and Harare, with Delft recording a decrease of 1, Gugulethu 16 increase, and then Harare an increase of 8 more murders. We have already touched on this one, so this particular slide simply tries to show you, in terms of the causative factors, which were the provinces that had attributed the increases to the different phenomena. Like for instance, we have already observed that arguments and misunderstanding were indicated to be a causative factor in 793 of these counts. In the province of KwaZulu-Natal, which is indicated there where the CASA is, indicated that 255 of their murders were as a result of arguments and misunderstanding. Then we had 193 murders that were attributable to gang-related, and the Western Cape, as I've indicated, was the province which indicated that most of the murders had been attributable to gang-related phenomena, whereby 166 such murders were attributable to that phenomenon. We also had tax-related murders, which was 63, and the province of Gauteng indicated that 32 of the murders were as a result of tax-related incidents. Then we also tried to look in terms of multiple murders or mass killings, if one may. We had instances whereby we only focused on 6 and above murders where people were killed in one incident. We had 2 incidents where there were 10 victims in each scene, and these 2 were in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. We had 10 people that were, the circumstances was that the 10 men were burned alive when a group of gunmen barged into their home and ordered them to undress, doused them with an unknown flammable substance, and then set them alight. 8 people died on the scene and 2 later succumbed to their injuries in hospital. That particular incident resulted in 10 victims and 2 cases of attempted murder. That was in Taylor's Halt. Then again in KwaZulu-Natal, in Plessis Layer, we had 10 family members that were shot dead at home, 7 females and 3 males by 2 unknown gunmen in a suspected case of witness elimination. However, subsequent to the commission of these murders, the perpetrators were arrested as they went to the cleansing ceremony at an Inyanga. This case also resulted in 3 cases of attempted murder. Then again in KwaZulu-Natal, this time in the Cleveland Hospital, we had 8 people between the ages of 20 and 40 that were shot dead while they were sitting in a room consuming alcohol. This case also resulted in 4 cases of attempted murder. Then we had 3 cases whereby 6 victims were killed in the one sitting, and this happened in Umbumbulu, in Orlando, and also in Ocean View. Then the weapon that is used in the commission of these murders, again we need to caution that this does not necessarily imply that there is a one-to-one relationship between the firearm that is used to commit a murder and a body. This does not imply that 2,756 firearms were used to kill the victims. We had seen that there are instances whereby some cases result in multiple murders. So there is no one-to-one correlation between the firearm and the dead body. Firearms were used in 2,756 murders, knives in 862, sharp instruments 462, blunt instruments 224, body parts 135, and then stones or bricks or rock in 103. Then the murders of police officials, we had 31 plus the 13 that were indicated at the previous time, where we said the 13 were law enforcement officers excluding police officers. If you add that to the 31 police officers, then you have 44 law enforcement personnel that are killed in the commission of their duties. In the case of the police officers, we had 10 police officers that were killed while on duty, and 21 were killed off duty. And then looking at the breakdown of the months making up the quarter, we had an increase in the month of April, May, and June of 2, 8, and 3 respectively, making up an overall increase in terms of murders of police officials of 13 for the current quarter compared to the previous quarter. That is, from 18 in the previous quarter, currently we had 31 police officers that had been killed. Then looking at the attacks on rural communities, we had an increase of 4 murders, that is from 10 to 14. Sexual offenses decreased by 1, attempted murder decreased by 16, assault GBAs decreased by 7, common assault decreased by 3, robbery aggravating decreased by 26, and then the contact crimes for rural attacks on rural communities decreased by 49. Now, going into the details of the 14 people that were killed in the farming communities, 4 of these were employees, 5 were farmers, 4 were farm dwellers, 1 was a visitor in a farm, making up the 14 people that were killed in the farming community. Then moving on to the scourge of rape, we had all the provinces recording decreases in terms of the crime of rape. The only 2 that recorded increases was the Free State with 43 counts more and 1 count more. And for the months, we had an increase only in the month of April, which is 65, which was followed by a decrease of 259 and another decrease of 70. Then the top 5 stations in terms of the rape are made up of Inanda, Mthatha, Mankweng, Kwadukuza, and Umlazi. Lusikisiki, which used to be in the top 3, is now sitting at number 11, and it has recorded a decrease of 30 rapes compared to the previous comparable period. Then this is the same analogy as the meta slide that we have indicated, and then again, the bottom left corner indicates the population for that particular provinces as obtained from the media population estimates 2021 series. Then the places of occurrence for the rapes, most of the rapes happened in the residence of the perpetrator, 3,917. This was determined from a sample size of 6,254. Then the second highest place where the rapes are occurring, which resulted in 1,414, was in a public place. Educational institutions, we had 69 rapes taking place at such facilities. Then we also had 65 rapes that had taken place at places where alcohol is being sold. Then looking at the place where alcohol is being sold and consumed, and also looking at the impact whereby alcohol and drugs had been used prior to the commission of the murders, we found that there were 274 murders which were committed while the people were using alcohol, 19 were using drugs. Then 1,143 of the rapes, alcohol was involved, 54 drugs were involved. And then those that happened specifically at places where alcohol is used, we had 243 murders, 276 attempted, 66 rapes, and then 3,262 assault GBH. Then this is the breakdown in terms of the rapes and murders that happened at educational premises. We had 55 rapes that happened at school, and 7 murders that happened at school, 2 murders at tertiary institutions, and 3 rapes at tertiary institutions. The perpetrators of the tertiary institution murders, we had 2 learners that were murdered by 2 students. We also had 2 instances whereby, which happened at school, where the learners were victims and the perpetrators were victims. Then this is the breakdown in terms of the rapes that happened within the educational premises, and it gives a breakdown of the school rapes that were 55. The most happened in Gauteng with 14, and then KwaZulu-Natal with 12, and Limpopo with 10. Then this also gives a breakdown in terms of the perpetrators and the victims in terms of the rape. We had 37 learners that were raped also by learners. We also had instances where strangers were perpetrators and the victims. In 5 incidents were learners, 2 instances where the teacher was the perpetrator and the victim was a learner. And then that is the breakdown for also special schools, tertiary institutions, and daycare centers. Then domestic violence, we had 219 murders that had been reported to have taken place between people who have some kind of a domestic relationship. Of these victims, 113 were female and 106 were male. And the highest number of these domestic violence related murders were reported in the province of KwaZulu-Natal with 70, and the second highest was the Eastern Cape with 37. We had 907 rapes that were attributable to domestic violence, and then again KwaZulu-Natal was the province with the highest number of domestic related rapes, 212. The second highest was the Western Cape with 174, and of these 852 of the victims were female and 55 were male. Then the subcategories of robbery with aggravating circumstances. We had decreases across all the months that make up the quarter, April, May, and June of 47, 245, and another decrease of 86. The provinces that recorded increases was Mpumalanga, Northwest, and Limpopo of 54, 40, and 9 respectively. Then the top stations are made up of Harare, Olive and Houtbosch, Nyanga, Philippi East and Protea. Then the vehicles that are mostly carjacked are the sedans and coupes. From the sample size of 5,522, it was indicated that 2,591 of the vehicles that were hijacked were coupes, bakkies were 1,582, station wagons 335. Then robbery at the residential premises, we had increases across all the 3 months, making up the quota of 61, 13, and 187 for April, May, and June. The 2 provinces that recorded decreases were the province of Limpopo and the Western Cape of 99 and 35 respectively, and other provinces recorded increases. Then robbery at residential premises, top stations are led by Plessis Liar, Inanda, Tembisa, Moffat View, and Roodepoort, making up the top 5. Non-residential premises, the provinces that recorded increases was the province of Northwest and Gauteng. The respective increases was 50 and 28. Then the top 5 stations is Johannesburg Central in terms of robbery non-residential, then Durban Central, Madeira, East London, and Kempton Park. Then cash in transit robberies were decreases in the province of Gauteng, Northwest, and the Western Cape. Gauteng recorded a decrease of 7, Northwest a decrease of 2, and the Western Cape a decrease of 2. Then the circumstances around the CIT, we had 28 of the cash in transit robberies which happened at the cross pavements. 6 were in the 3 provinces of Limpopo, each, and KwaZulu-Natal and the Eastern Cape. And when the armored vehicle was on the road, we had 27 counts, whereby 7 was in the Eastern Cape, Gauteng. We had 5 similar to KwaZulu-Natal, 5, then Limpopo and Mpumalanga with 4 each. Then this is the breakdown of the previous slide. Then truck hijacking, the provinces that recorded increases was Eastern Cape, KwaZulu-Natal, and Mpumalanga. The other provinces recorded decreases. Then top stations in terms of truck hijacking is Western Area, Boksburg, Swartkop, Hammanskraal, and Kempton Park. Then kidnapping, causative circumstances from a sample size of 3,481, we found that 154 of the kidnappings resulted in a ransom being demanded, 13 were extortion related, and 11 human trafficking. Then this is the breakdown. We also looked at burglaries at the religious, liquor outlets, and educational premises. The blue indicates burglaries at educational premises, the green burglaries at liquor premises, and then we also had the orange representing religious premises. In total, we had 2,136 burglaries at educational premises. We had 629 burglaries at liquor premises. We also had 717 at religious premises. And mostly the burglaries at the religious premises, the targeted items were the speakers and the mixers that are normally used in these churches. Then the core diversion, this looks at instances which diverts the resources of the police, which require police presence to be monitored. We had 1,300 incidents that were deemed to be peaceful, and 526 incidents that were deemed to be unrest that required the attention of the police. And both peaceful and unrest, the highest number was in the 2 provinces of Gauteng and KwaZulu-Natal. Then this gives a summary in terms of a comparison of the provinces vis-a-vis at the national level. You can see at the top there we have the provinces, and then also has the crime in terms of what was reported in those particular provinces. The color code indicates whether that particular crime for that particular station was on the decrease or increase. The green representing the decrease and the red representing the increase. And the numbers within the specific cells indicates the total number of crimes that had been reported, not case differences. This is the similar analogy in the previous slide. Then we also looked in terms of the total number of crimes that had increased per province. The For instance, in Mpumalanga, we had 12 of the crimes increasing and 5 decreasing. And then again, we also show which of the crimes within the particular provinces were increasing or decreasing. In this penultimate slide, we look at stations that have recorded increases across all the 17 community reported crimes, a proxy of kind of non-performing stations. They are led there by Roodepoort, which recorded 16 of the 17 community reported crimes to have increased. And then in Kakamas, we have 15 of the 17 community reported crimes which had recorded increases, 1 at the same number as in the previous quarter, and then 1 decrease. Then lastly, we have a link which shows where members of the media and the general public can be in a position to download the full version of the crime statistics as has been presented. I thank you.
Thank you very much, General, for that very thorough presentation of the crime stats. Just to give us context, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's important, and we really appreciate it, General, that you're able to just break down the numbers for us, what they actually mean and what is it that we're looking into with regards to the Q1 crime statistics. So with that, I'm going to open up the floor to some questions. And you know the drill, ladies and gentlemen. Please identify who you are, which media house you represent, and who your question is posed to. As I've indicated, we've got the full top brass of the SAPS that are on the podium. I don't see any hands. And let me just check with Brigadier Mate if we've got any questions online. All right. I see a hand there, ENCA. Go ahead, William.
Good morning, William Chuti Jones, ENCA. I just want to ask a question in regards to illegal mining. Has this been quite problematic in what we're seeing? Zamazamas, of course, being at large, 6,000 hobos, of course, being active as well. What does the Minister have to say about this? And has there also been a concerning spike in terms of service delivery protests as well that we've been seeing recently? Is this something that's also been concerning? And in terms of provinces, particularly with Western Cape and KwaZulu-Natal, what are some of the mechanisms or measures that will be put in place to fight the crime in those particular provinces? Thank you.
All right, thank you, William. I'm just going to scan through the room and see if there's maybe a second round of questions. All right, let's just get some responses for that. I think you can take the question while you sit there, Minister. No. You can take the response? Oh, she has to come. Okay, no problem.
Was it big? Nope. No, the fighting crime in provinces, National Commission answer. I didn't see Quincy Jones, where are you? I didn't see Quincy Jones. You asked about the Zamazamas. You were there, Jones. Riverly when we had Imbizo there, and there was an announcement made that the ministers of the cluster would meet the president. Indeed, on that Saturday, the ministers of cluster met the president, but it went beyond that. Minister of Minerals, Mines, was there, the Minister of Finance was there. President wanted an overall approach to Zamazamas, not the piecemeal approaches. And thereafter, the cluster inviting many other departments has met 3 times. There will be finance there, there will be human settlement, and there will be mines. And they have developed the way forward that will be put in operation, and then National Commissioner, together with the neck joints and those that they lead, make sure that it happens. It's a quite an intensive and comprehensive plan that needs money, but because they will be fully briefing to the President on it, maybe giving figures and the money figures, it won't work to give that plan now. But that does not mean that the work on the Zamazamas has stopped. I'm sure you have seen the clips, you have seen people talking about it. We prefer to do these things on a quiet side and just do the work. That includes last night the head of Hawks we have found, it's in Northwest, where we have found tons and tons of ammunition and quite a big number of firearms, and the 30 people have been arrested. That is last night. But let me also say, the police started dealing with Zamazamas when it was not fashion, when it was not very much known. The first team to look at Zamazamas was in the year 2018, 2019, that started in Free State. What is this? Velkom. It started in Velkom because Zamazamas went underground and they diverted both electricity and water to their operations rather than communities. So we had to put a special operation there as early as 2018, 2019. So these operations have been going and all that, but for now, we have agreed that maybe dealing with one item at a time won't work, so we just need to unleash all the strength of the state, including other departments, Jones. That's why these 6,001 holes will be led by the Department of Minerals together with the business and whoever is responsible. But also, the enforcement will be led by the police and all other law enforcement that are there, your Metro Police, your police, your special forces, the SNDF members where it's necessary, but also the prosecution will have to be part of that. The rehabilitation of mines indeed is for government and the industry itself, the mining industry. But also the dealing with human settlement around those areas. You know, again, Jones, you were there in River Lee when half of that settlement of Zamimpilo is occupied by the foreign people, and those people that are there are not known and all that. Quite several of these informal settlements where they are converted to the factories and all that. And then the illegal immigrants will be led by the Department of Home Affairs with BMA and all that. So it's a common approach that is developed, and that will be soon unleashed so that we deal at once with these Zamazamas. But the question of those fighting crime in those specific two provinces, I think the National Commission will deal with that. Thanks.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon. Fighting crime in Western Cape, KwaZulu-Natal, and Gauteng is not the operation that is solely for those provinces. We are currently executing Operation Shanela, the whole country, and those provinces are not excluded from the implementation of Operation Shanela. And it is yielding results in those provinces and all other provinces nationally. There has been quite a number of significant successes in those provinces. We've seen in Western Cape quite a number of arrests have been made. But across all these provinces, we have made quite a number of significant arrests. With regard to illicit mining, just to add on what the Minister said, since this last Tuesday where we are coming from, we have implemented also a plan to deal with Zamazamas countrywide, and we have already seen results in the majority of the provinces. You recall we have got 6 provinces that have got this problem of illicit mining. That's Free State, Northwest, Northern Cape, Gauteng, as well as Mpumalanga and Limpopo. We have seen since Tuesday over 200 Zamazamas have been arrested. A lot of machineries as well as pendugas, equipment, soil-bearing metals, gold-bearing soil has been confiscated. So the operation is quite yielding results, and we will continue with this operation together with all other relevant role players. Thank you.
Thank you very much, General. And on that point, the DPCI will, on the 23rd of August, that's next week, Wednesday, they're going to give a full briefing around their successes of priority crimes. And of course, we know that illegal mining, especially going towards dismantling the whole value chain of illegal mining, is one of the priority crimes that the DPCI is investigating. So, ladies and gentlemen, you will be given a proper invite to this media briefing, but that is going to happen next week, Wednesday, the 23rd of August. I do believe that we are coming to a close, Minister. Seemingly, your presentation, General Sekukone, and your opening remarks, Minister, were quite thorough. I don't see any other hands here in Pretoria. So with that, I would just like to thank the panel before us for availing themselves, but more than anything, thank you to the media for always coming to attend our briefings. Have a fantastic weekend. Thank you.